Hey everyone, it's Kristen. So today we're going to be talking about Dazzler 21. It is a special double-sized issue, and you can see it's $1, costs $1. Here's issue 20. So normally it costs 60 cents, so they upped it to $1 since it's a special double-sized issue. And I always thought this cover was interesting because it's like more, realistic. It looks like it's an actual person that is a model for the cover. But it also, to me, of course, doesn't quite look like Dazzler. But of course, I guess they couldn't have a normal person in a pose on the cover in a suit like this. I would assume that's why they did it the way they did. Because this is pretty revealing, especially on a real person. So this is a double issue. Like I said, I'm going to try not to make this double, as in the length of the other videos. So I don't think it will be, honestly, because of the way this story is laid out. But we will see. I will try to make it not as long. So, beginning, Alison Blair, this is your life. So she and the angel are going to her house because her dad needs her. They just kind of recount what happened. And Spider-Man's like, hey, it's my friends, Angel and the Dazzler. Like, I bet it'll be, a thrill for them to see me. And he calls out to them, and they pretty much just ignore him because they're focused on, like, getting to Dazzler's house. And he's like, well, fine then. He's like, it must be something important. It doesn't look like it's a party. So Allison goes in and sees her dad. She goes, hi, Dad. And almost immediately, basically, he comes out of his coma, or his stupor, not a coma. Basically, he's, said he's not very nice to her. He's talking about, have you come back to beg for my forgiveness, or only to taunt me again? And she's like, whoa, where's this coming from? Like, don't you see what you're doing? You're just, like, acting like I've done something really wrong, like done something really bad to hurt you. And she's like, well, maybe it's you who have something to make up for the fact that you never told me about my mother. Okay, and he's like, do you want to know about your mother? I've kept this from you for years because I didn't want to hurt you with this, but now, fine. I'll tell you the truth. So they married when they got married. She was a jazz singer, sang at, lounges and, dives and stuff like that. And she sang all through while she was supporting him through law school. Does that sound familiar? It seems like that happens a lot. And then, unfortunately, because there was this, I remember this one show where she supported him as a nurse, like all through, he was working to get his, like, either doctorate or something. And then as soon as he hit it big, he dumped her, even though she was the one that was supporting, like, him all these years. And he's like, I'm not going to give her, anything in the divorce. And she, basically she was like, that's not fair because, I mean, I supported you. I helped you achieve this. So isn't that worth something? Anyway, that's what it makes me think of. But anyway, so sorry, I digress. Um, so he graduated, from law school, and then they had Dazzler, and he assumed, because he never approved of her career in the first place, he assumed that she would quit now that she was a wife and a mom, and that his income could support them both. And she argued with him, like, I'm a singer. I've always been a singer. You know this about me, which she has a point. Like, she was a singer when they met, and that was her career. That's what the path she chose. That's what she wanted to do. And he basically couldn't get behind that. He's like, you shouldn't be, let's see, how did he put it? You don't belong in sleazy dives anymore because you're a wife and a mom. And, so basically they fought a lot. and she basically stayed away more and more, and she fell into it with this guy, Nick Brown, and nobody really knew what he did, but he always had money. He always had alcohol and drugs on him, and they fell like in love, and so that's the locket. She has Carter's picture and Nick's picture in it, and basically Allison's dad is like, I should have done something, but I just let her go. And then he does say, I did try to go see her. I did try to talk to her, but she refused to talk to me. She refused to see me. So after that, I was just like, okay. And one day he came home and she wrote him a letter that she had left. Like she had left him and Allison. And she got even more involved with Nick. And when they got their divorce, she married Nick. And Allison is like, no, this isn't true. This can't be true. You liar. And she runs out because, of course, I mean, no child wants to hear that their parent just abandoned them. I mean, yeah, I can't even imagine what that feels like. I'm glad I don't have to imagine because that would suck. And so Warren goes out to comfort her, and then we see Barbara, Catherine, and she's still talking to Vanessa. No, it's true. I'm Dazzler's mother. And she kind of also talks about her side of it, that, yeah, Carter was never the best husband, but she wasn't the best wife either. And, they fought over, again, her career, and she loved Nick, and she got married to him. But he, in addition to loving alcohol and drugs, he also loved women, and she saw him, with other women, but she was like, I've already left Carter, I can't leave Nick also. And they had a child, a daughter, but, of course, children never fix things. So it just made it worse. And you can see he hit her, and he actually got her hooked on anything and everything, like drugs, alcohol, anything, because here she is doing drugs in front of her little girl saying, Mommy just needs her happy powder. There it is. Oh, Mommy feels better. And she, one day just kind of woke up and realized, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Probably, she said, thanks to, seeing her little girl, her 4-year-old girl looking at her, while she was doing all these things, it's kind of made her snap out of it. So she left Nick, took her daughter with her this time, and, changed her name, started over, stayed in music, but only behind the scenes, so to speak. As a teacher, she never wanted to be on stage again. So, and she says, Vanessa asked, have you ever seen her in concert? And she's like, no, I've never have, because I'm afraid to run into her, because even though I don't want her to know the truth, because even no matter what her dad tells her, she can still hold on to the fact that, oh, well, that can't be true. Maybe that's not true. Maybe dad's just exaggerating. That can't be true. But if I actually see her and I have to tell her what I did, then it will make it true for her. And she feels like she's caused her enough pain already, and she doesn't want to do that to her. So Dazzler gets a call from Harry, and she's feeling a little bit down, but he's like, I have a gig for you, an opportunity. So there's this promoter. His name's like Les Mitchell. Yeah. And he has come up with this brilliant idea. Dazzler's going to headline a show at Carnegie Hall, a charity show, and all the proceeds are going to go, not all the proceeds are going to go to the hospital, because he's like, well, once I get my small cut, which we don't know how much that is, but it's probably not that small, then the rest of the proceeds will go to the hospital. So it'll be a charity concert, and you'll invite all your superhero friends to, make an appearance, and that'll, generate a lot of publicity, a lot of buzz. We'll sell out. You'll become a household name. What do you say? It'll be great for your career. She's like, well, I don't know if I should exploit my friends like that. He's like, you're not exploiting them. It's for charity. of course, he just wants his cut. And he's like, so, so you'll do it. And she's like, well, I guess so. And then he pinches her. Like, he pinches her on the butt. And she is just outraged and indignant. And like, Harry, did you see what he just did? Like, how dare he? And Harry's like, oh, it's just how he is. It's just, I mean, oh, of course, this was the 80s, but they were still like, they were talking about it even back then, that it's not okay when men do that, and then other men will just tell women, oh no, it's nothing, you're overreacting, that's just how he is, it's just part of the business that we're in, that's just how it is. Well, so I wonder, like, okay, I wonder how people reacted back then to reading, this page. Like, were they like, oh, like glossed over it, didn't even register that, she was being sexually harassed? Or if they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that Marvel would put that in here. That's so true, so relevant. I kind of wonder, well, yeah, I wonder, because I don't know. We have no way of knowing. Not really. So anyway, and Allison's still pretty upset. She's like, you know what? Fine, Harry, I'll do this for you because you asked me to. But she's, not happy about it. So Les basically is there watching her rehearse, which she's kind of not okay with, but Harry said he could do that. And Allison's just having an off day. She's not doing really well in rehearsal. She's forgetting the lyrics. She just, is falling, just not having a good day. And then so he offers her, hey, like I can get you, pills to help you relax because obviously you need something. And she's like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? No, get away from me. If you don't talk to me. If you have any questions, direct them to Harry and Harry will talk to me, but you're not allowed to talk to me. Harry said you could sit in here and watch rehearsal, but no, you cannot talk to me. So they start rehearsal again, which good for her that she stood up for herself. And then she goes later shopping with Vanessa, which I feel like every girl movie has this moment in it, like this fashion montage where they're trying on clothes. Which is just, to me, is just a fun part of movies. Like okay, so I hate shopping, really hate shopping. But yeah, it would be fun, and it's because like I have a hard time finding clothes that I think look good on me because I don't know, I'm just shaped a little weird, I guess, and I'm like very petite, and so I just have a hard time finding clothes that like look good on me. And for example, like my belly button, from my belly button into the like bottom of my bra is like there's this much space. Like literally. I have I have no torso almost. And so it makes it hard to find clothes. Like swimsuits, I have to have a two-piece because and otherwise I have to, like literally when I had a job at working as a camp counselor for summer camp, and the kids would get in the water and you had to get in the water with them in order to for safety reasons, just in case, because of course there were lifeguards there, but there had to be other people there too. Anyway, you had to have a one-piece swimsuit, which I totally understand, totally, but I had to actually buy a swimsuit and roll it up underneath and pin it with safety pins in order for it to fit me. So I like literally always buy a two-piece because it's just that's better. Anyway, so yes, I would love to have like one of these magical shopping montage moments, but I hate shopping because it's hard to find clothes that work for me. So anyway, but it's still fun. So even Vanessa's like, I'm getting tired of this. Let's go. Let's pay. So good for her, because of course Dazzler's having most of the fun. So anyway, and then she and Ken go on a date. Um, and then later, Angel goes to her window. And they end up kissing again, even though she's with Ken. But Dazzler does say, or Angel's there mostly to apologize, to say, hey, I shouldn't have butted in. I mean, I pursued you, I was interested in you, but I went about it the wrong way. I shouldn't have butted into your family affairs, and I'm really sorry, like, for stirring up so much trouble. And Dazzler said, it's okay, but, I mean, if we were, like, maybe there'll come a time when we can get to know each other under normal circumstances. And she's like, and Angel's like, well, that would be nice. Until then, I'll see you at your concert. I'm bringing Bella. So Allison's grandmother is his date, which I think is so cute. So, and then they kiss, like a goodbye kiss. But still, like, she's kissed him like 2 or 3 times and supposedly still with Ken. So, just saying. Oh, so her dad sees the flyer for the Dazzler concert. He gets in his car, and we're not sure where he's going. But we start to see the celebrity guest arrive, and there's the Fantastic Four. First of the celebrity guests to arrive. And then here's the Avengers. Hawkeye, Captain America, which I'm not sure why Captain America's wearing a trench coat. But anyway, Iron Man, Thor, Wasp, She-Hulk, and She-Hulk, who, Dazzler fought not too long ago. And she's like, the Dazzler is a gal that anybody'd be proud of. She's my buddy. And then Daredevil is there, and he is like, as much as I would have liked to be there for charity, I don't feel right exploiting my costumed identity. And then you have Luke Cage and Iron Fist and Misty Knight, and let's see, who is he dating at this moment? Oh, Harmony Young. That's who Power Man's date is. And then you see Quasar from Project Pegasus. And you see Wonder Man and Beast, and there's Peter Parker taking pictures. And there's Ken. And everyone's like, oh, who's that? And they're like, oh, nobody. And so then Peter goes and changes into Spider-Man. And he remarks that the only people who aren't there yet are the X-Men. And the editor tells us the X-Men won't be there because they are... this is Uncanny X-Men 162. They're fighting the Brood. That's the Brood saga. So they definitely won't be there. So you see Catherine and Vanessa outside, and Catherine's like, I don't even know if I should go in. I don't feel right about this. And Harry's just kind of goes in there and makes Dazzler nervous. And he's like, you were terrible during rehearsal. It's like, you shouldn't tell people that. Well, she knows that she wasn't great. You were terrible during rehearsal, so I hope you've used up all your terribleness and that today goes well. And then there's some other person that knocks on her door and basically offers her drugs. And she thinks, oh my gosh, did Harry put him up to this? And she's like, no, he couldn't have. And so then her dad shows up and surprises her. And he says, your words resonated with me. I discouraged you from being a singer because I didn't want to lose you the way I lost Catherine. And I mean, of course, like I said, I've made mistakes with Catherine, things I could have done better, differently. But at the same time, like I said, I didn't want to lose you because you seemed determined to go down the same path as her. And Dazzler's like, Dad, you're right. I've seen a lot of things lately with multiple people offering her drugs, the sexual harassment, and she's supposed to be okay with it. she's like, I've seen a lot of things lately that I don't know if I'm okay with being in this industry anymore. And so she puts on her coat to leave. And Vanessa's like, what are you doing? Where are you going? And she's like, well, I'm leaving. And she's like, but you can't leave. I found your mother. She's out there. She's here just to hear you sing. And so then Dazzler's like, oh, she's thinking about her friends in the audience that came here for her because she asked them to. Her mother in the audience, the band's starting, everyone's excited. They're, all yelling for her. And she says, I'm sorry, Dad, I love you, but like, I have to do this. So she goes out there and gives like this great concert. And then she stops and says, oh, Captain America with his trench coat. Like I said, I'm not sure why the trench coat. And he says, I've never seen Dazzler so driven, Shellhead, talking to Iron Man, so intense. It's as if something were burning up inside of her. Whatever it is, Cap, she sure can sing. That's stating the obvious. So anyway, Dazzler stops the concert, to thank everyone for being there, to thank her friends for showing up, and she says, basically, she talks about her mother and that she is in the audience, and even though she doesn't even know what she looks like, um, she's in the audience and just wanted to let her know that she loved her. And she's singing this original song she wrote called "A Little Girl's Dream." And I won't you know, recite the song for you or anything, but it's about being a little girl and her parents always being there together for her, which anyway, so everyone's raptured by her singing. There's a group shot of the heroes again. And Dazzler ends the performance and then, goes backstage and there's all the heroes like waiting for her. Oh, of course there's the crowd roars in appreciation. And they're trying to get her to come to the after party and she's like, no, I really don't feel like it. Because really she's kind of waiting around to see if her mother will show up. Will come see her backstage. And Ken says, like, she's even kicking me out, so she really does just want to be alone. And Harry apologizes for earlier. He really didn't mean to. So she takes off her stage makeup and she thinks she hears footsteps. And she's like, hello? And she's like, Mother? Mom? Is that really you? And she's like, yes, it's me. And they look at each other and there's a resemblance to, there. Um, And her mom says, I understand how you feel, but we need to do this slowly. And she's like, but Mom, I have so many questions. And she said, they'll keep. It's just, I'm not even sure I did the right thing coming here to see you. I just, I've made a lot of mistakes. And Allison says, Mom, I don't care. You're my mom. I love you. And that's all that matters. And then Carter shows up and he's like, she's right, Catherine. And they're both like, oh my gosh. And they grasp hands and he says, hello, Catherine. Our daughter, she did very well tonight, didn't she? And Catherine says, yes, Carter, quite well. You've made her into a remarkable individual. And then Catherine says, I've got to go, but I will be in touch, I promise. And she's like, I do, and I love you, Mom. And her dad says, Allison, I just wanted to say that, I've been so focused on not letting you go down the same path as your mother that I pushed you away. I forgot that you're a grown woman and you can make your own choices. And I just wanted you to know that from now on, it'll be different. And, if whatever you need help with, however I can help, I'm going to be here for you. All you need to do is ask. And so she's like, oh, Dad, so I'm glad that they made up. And then we have the after party, which it's like 3 a.m. or something, but they're like, we weren't going to let you get away without, saying something, without throwing you a little party. So yeah, I think that's cool that so many heroes were in this issue to show that they showed up for Dazzler. And she says, I don't know why, but I find this kind of funny. She's like, you people have got some nerve throwing a party without onion dip. And Iron Man's like, it's in the fridge. I didn't want it to spoil. Which, that seems very random for her to say that. I'm sure she's like kidding, but anyway. So, yeah. And Beast says, here comes my favorite platter, Beast of Burden. See, he's putting that vinyl on. Anyway, so it was just kind of a fun issue, and actually it didn't run like way too much longer than other videos, considering it was a double issue. But so anyway, it just I'm glad that she finally learned the secret of her mom, but the gold lockets made no sense because they, her adventure with Spider-Woman in San Francisco led them to believe she was like a shield agent or something. And before I reread this, I did too. I was like, oh, she was a shield agent. That's why she disappeared all of a sudden. She had a mission she had to go on, and she couldn't tell anyone, and she disappeared, and then something happened to her. Maybe she lost her memory. And her brooch had nothing to do with shield. Nothing. Nothing. They just happened to, have the same symbol, which was, I'm like, really? That's okay. It's like a huge coincidence. But I realized I had to make it interesting. But anyway, so now we finally know the secret of her mom, and her dad's finally forgiven her, gotten over the fact that she wants to be a singer. So yay! I can't remember if we see her mom in the rest of this series. It's like I said, it's been a while since I've read this series, so that's partly why I'm doing these videos, is so I can reread them with you guys. And anyway, so yeah, I can't remember if they show up again, but I guess we will find out. So I hope you will join me. Oh, and something really exciting about the next issue. Sorry. It says Mystique, Destiny, Rogue, Sisterhood of Evil Mutants at the end of this page. So I'm really excited because, Rogue is my favorite character. So even though she's, you know, not a good person in this issue, it's still interesting to see her earlier appearances. And this is, of course, one of her earlier appearances before she joined the X-Men and became a good guy. So anyway, I hope you will join me for that video and future videos. And until next time, bye.